Okay, so let's talk about the dating life highway in Colombia, specifically here in Antioquia, the department or state of Antioquia, province of Antioquia, in particular, very specific, down in the valley of Aburra. The valley of Aburra, which consists of Medellin, Envigado, these are municipalities or cities, Medellin, Envigado, Sabaneta, Bello, Itagüí, La Estrella, Copacabana, Iradota, Barbosa, and Caldas. 10 municipalities, one big city and the other one smaller. But this is not Medellin, but I'm not in Medellin, I'm in the countryside here in Guatemala. So I've lived here for a total of 26 years, but I'm going to be showing you mostly what I'm looking at, the scenery, not my face too much, very little. Kind of like Gabriel high roller traveler mode. It's a good one that Harold Balder started using about Gabriel Traveler, Gabriel Morris on YouTube, Gabriel Traveler. Anyhow, so dating. I have had one serious relationship here in the 26 years I've been here. She and I lasted 4 years and 3 months in our dating relationship. We were going to get married. That was back from 1998 to 2003. And then before that and after that, just other types of relationships, dating that I had, the dating stuff. I had a couple of so-called girlfriends, but they didn't pan out because they wanted to change their mind. They changed their mind. And it's not easy. So for any foreigner like myself or you guys who are thinking about dating and looking for women online in terms of those dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, and whatever, it's not easy. Me, I was fortunate enough, not so much on me, I was fortunate enough that when I came to live here in 1995, I got a job the next year, the following year, as an English language teacher. And as an English language teacher, I was able to meet a lot of people. First of all, the workmates I had, the fellow teachers, and that was great because it's all about networking. I don't like pointing the camera at myself anymore, but I'm still used to it as a former travel vlogger, because I'm not a traveler anymore. I'm not a digital nomad living in other countries, which I was doing until May of this year, 2024. So women here are beautiful. There are so many women from different social, economic classes, stratification, whatever you want to call it, from the very rich to the very poor. But you have to be careful that when you're dating, you can maybe date the wrong woman, because a lot of women, I mean, if they're from the poor classes, some of those women are looking to get out of poverty's paradise, and they see the meal ticket or the way out in a foreigner, and they have usually the conception, the idea that foreigners have a lot of money, especially if you're white or white American or white Canadian, but if you're white. So yeah, so I was fortunate that I made friends with teachers as a teacher, teaching English back in '96 at a place called the Meyer Institute. Here they call it Instituto Meyer. And women here are very nice. Back in those days, a lot of things have changed from the late 90s to now, to our current times, to our very current times. A tall building up there, up the hill. So I want to make this as brief as possible, but let's say, yeah, I was fortunate, and Namaste, that's the name of the shop over there. And yeah, and then through my friends, my teaching friends, my fellow teachers, I was introduced to other people. So networking is important. And through them, I met other people and met women, because I had female friends and they would introduce you to other female friends or male friends to, you know, have more friends and hang out and go out and party and whatever. And also some of the students, because I didn't teach at a school, it was an institute, an English language center, so everybody was an adult in general in most of my classes. So then I would have women in those classes that sometimes were interested in me. Buenos días. Ah, buenas tardes, qué pena. Sí, dame free. And look, a nice laundromat here, like in the States or Canada, where you could come and wash. It's right there, but the truck is blocking it. So yeah, some women back in those days took the initiative to talk to me, to hit on me, and to ask me out, to ask for my phone number. So it was cool. And I never had a problem with dating women in those days. I didn't. It was so cool. None of them were out to squeeze me dry or try to get me to marry them, to take them to the United States, because I wasn't planning on going back. So it was cool, but there were some headaches along the way. Some girls just were trying to date a guy that was up to their level, because I was dating some women that were high class, from the upper class or middle classes, upper middle class or the upper class. I dated some women I went out with, but then when they saw that I was more of a middle class person and not so upper class, I didn't have a car, then they would just say, oh no, that's it. They would just find some way not to continue going out. And one of the things you got to be aware of when you're dating here is the culture. In Colombia, sometimes a woman will say yes to you to go out on a date when she really means no, but she doesn't want to say no in your face. So you say yeah to the time and day, the day and time that you ask her to get together. And then there comes the day of the thing, and then she'll send you a text message and say, I'm sorry, I can't go because of blah blah blah. It happened to me a few times. Not a lot, but it did happen to me a few times. And I did date a lot of women. A lot. I'm being truthful, honest. Don't judge me, but if you do, you do. So it's a Saturday, a lot of people out. There are beautiful women in this town, Guadne. Pretty women, but these are more like lower middle class or poor, bordering on middle class, whatever you want to call it. So yeah. Okay, adding this on. Women want to be treated well, the good women. Because if you're looking for a good woman, a good gal, they want to be treated well. And it's important that you speak good Spanish, because most of these women don't speak English, or very little English. So they want to be treated well. They don't want to be abused. I mean, you'll find the other women that are just interested in the sex and the money that you can provide. But, and a lot of these women too have children, and they're single parents, single household heads, and then they're looking, you know, for somebody to treat them well and take care of them and their kids, you know. And maybe you can even find a really long-lasting relationship, love. But don't come being an A-Rod, because a lot of the women that I've been talking to, my students as an English language teacher, to my students, and they're all professionals. They're business management professionals, they're lawyers, they're engineers, civil engineers or chemical engineers. They've been telling me that the men in Medellin, or Paisa men, are dogs, and they don't like unfaithful men. They don't like those infidels, those cheaters, those womanizers. And they're looking for a good man. They're looking for a good guy. Are you that good guy? Or are you just another one of those womanizing pieces of garbage that they refer to? So think about that. And those women want to date a guy that is at their level economically and educationally and with a heart, with a lot of heart. That's it. And they don't want to be dating some guy that's poor. But the poor women do want to date somebody that's richer because they want to be lifted up from their poverty. They don't want to go further into poverty. Got to keep these things clear, guys. You got to be really clear about these things if you're coming here to look for a possible good gal. You can find any kind of gal anywhere in the world, but a good gal, they're getting harder to come by. Catch you on the rebound. I keep adding to this. They want to be loved. Those good women want to be loved. And they'll give you a lot of love. Because the women I've met, they were pretty loving women. So just keep those things in mind. If you're just looking for something else, you can find something else easily on any corner in any part of the world. But if you're looking for a good gal, good woman, you need to be a stand-up man and give love, respect, affection, be romantic, you know, be fun, be supportive, be a good listener, That's why it's important to learn Spanish. How can you be a good listener if you don't know Spanish? And then they'll listen to you because you're speaking Spanish to them. And then later on they'll make an effort to learn English. Some of them. But you're the one that has to step up to the plate because you're the man that wants a good gal. A real good gal. I mean, I'll say one more thing. You guys are putting yourself in danger, at risk of getting robbed, hurt physically, maybe even killed by meeting up women in bars and nightclubs anywhere in the world. And even on these dating apps, Tinder and whatever, I've said it already. So, you know, use your intelligence, use your spidey senses. Just try to meet people that are just not, you gotta go to their neighborhoods, see who they are, go out with them. If they live in a low-income neighborhood in Colombia, then you gotta be really careful, because those low-income neighborhoods have just a lot of crazy things going on. The really bad ones. Not all low-income neighborhoods are bad in Colombia or in Medellin, but you gotta be careful. So my advice is, if the woman is from El Poblado in Medellin and she lives there and she works in a good company, she's a professional, then you got something good going. But if she is not a professional, then your situation with a woman starts to go a little bad, because like I said, there are a lot of criminal women out there, criminally minded women who are working with networks of gangs to target unsuspecting foreigners who are here to try to find love or just have a good time. Be careful with all of that. That's it. If you have any questions, drop them down below in the description, in the comments, and I'll get back to you. And I'm adding on this. A lot of these good women that are professionals here, that have a good life here in Colombia, in Medellin, or in the Negro, whatever, they're not looking to leave the country. They're very happy with the lifestyle they have. So don't go expecting that they will drop their lives here, their professions, and go and live in your country with you, whatever country it is you come from. Most don't want to do that. I've talked to them, to the ones I know over the years, especially this year, my students from different companies here, from Chocolates, Isagen, Isa, EPM, etc., Noel, Nutresa. They don't want to leave. They're having a good life here. They have their own apartment, their own car. They have their own life. And their families here, their moms and dads and whatever. And I just keep adding. Women here, the social circles are quite close, because they're very afraid. The ones from good families, from the professional fields, from the upper classes and whatever, they don't like mingling with other people they don't know, because they think they might be bad people, gangsters, or drug dealers or whatever. So you really have to work it hard and try to get into a good network with maybe Medellin Buzz or or the other guy, AK Joel's Colombia, building up an expat community and everything like that. So don't think it's going to be easy to get into the really good women league that are professionals, that can come out with a degree from a university and have very good jobs. They're very, very careful about who they talk to and the men they date, because they know there are a lot of bad dudes out there. Even foreigners they know are bad. A lot of foreigners that are coming this way doing crazy stuff, sex and drugs, tourism. Another thing I want to tell you guys, men, is that women here, this country, Colombia, is one of has a lot of domestic violence towards women. A lot of domestic violence. So women here are not looking for a man who's gonna physically abuse them, or even verbally, psychologically abuse them. So chill with that. And the dating thing here, women, I mean, I'm 52, right? So I'm not gonna go out and look to date a woman that's 22 or 23. And that should be a red flag. If a 23 or 24-year-old wants to date you that's 44, 20 years older, that should be a red flag right there in general. There are the exceptions, but rarely are there exceptions these days. Women who are 22, 23, 24 here in Colombia do not want to date a man who's 15, 20 years older. They want somebody in their generation, has similar tastes, similar things. A man that is 20, 15, 20 years older than the woman has already experienced a lot of things in life, whereas the woman hasn't experienced a lot of these things yet and wants to, but the man probably doesn't. So that's going to be a big one, a big problem right there. And also, if a woman starts asking you for money, that's a red flag right there. After you've only gone out twice or three times, or you're just communicating through chat boxes because you're doing it through Bumble or Tumble, whatever, Humble, and what's the other one, Tinder. So, you know, chill. I just love the mountains, and here in Colombia, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But anyhow, more that I wanted to say is that if you meet these women through Bumble or Tinder and you hook up with them in terms of like numbers, exchanging numbers, and then on the first or second date they want to go back to your place, that's a red flag right there. Here in Colombia, women are very traditional in general, especially the good ones, very traditional. And then I'm looking forward to going back, or planning to go back to your place, hotel room or Airbnb that you have, after 1 or 2 or 3 dates. Doesn't work like that unless they're just horny. But that's a red flag in all in all, because they might be working with, like I said, gang members who are organized crime to rob you. So red flag and a half. If that's not a red flag for you, then you're just plain stupid or horny and don't care about anything else. So please stop being stupid and stop being so horny. And like I said, women that have a very good standard of living here because they're professionals, they graduated from a university, they have a degree, and they have even a specialization or a master's in some area, they're not looking to leave their comfort zone. Plus, a lot of women here, especially in Antioquia and in many other parts of Colombia, they're family oriented. They love their mothers. They don't want to go far away from their mothers. They don't want to leave their comforts. They got an apartment or a house, a car they work hard to get to, social status. They don't want to go to the US or Canada where they're going to have to work twice as hard and whatever, and be in a bigger rat race than they are already here. And like I said, if you really want to be connected with these women, learn the language. Like I said, learn the language. You want to have a deep connection with a woman, you got to speak the same language and pretty well. And it's you, the man, that's got to make the effort. Like I said, women here don't know English that well. Most don't know much English, or very little. And now if you go out to small towns like this, or even smaller towns, then you're going to meet more women, not as many in Medellin, but who are poorer and whatever, because they're country folk. And a lot of country folk don't have the money to send their kids to college. unless they get some kind of scholarship because they're super smart or some sport. That's it. I think I have nothing more to say. I'm gonna say this one more time because I wasn't clear about this whole dating thing on this one topic or point. Women in Medellin and Envigado from the upper middle class, not the upper class, but let's say the middle upper class, or whatever you want to call it, and the upper class, and in Llano Grande, whatever, Rio Negro, they're very picky about who they date. They're very close-circled about that because back in the Pablo Escobar days, there were just so many people that got affected by that whole situation and by all levels of society that went into that illicit business situation. And a lot of crazy things happened: kidnappings, extortions, murders, whatever, blackmailing. So these women that you are looking for that work for these good companies and they come from good families, they're not going to be that easy to approach because they're going to be very iffy. They're going to be very skeptical about who you are. But if you're a foreigner, still they'll be skeptical because they might think you're one of those nimwits, those idiots that are drug users or sex mongers, womanizers, or whatever kind of psychopaths. So really get to learn the language, and you got to network, and then maybe you'll have a chance finding a good gal. It's not impossible, but it ain't easy pickings either. That's it. I'm always adding something here. Women, you gotta know women love dancing here in Colombia. Not just in Medellin, Cali, if you're in Cali, or Barranquilla, or Cartagena, Santa Marta. And some women are very sensual, you know, they like sensuality, sensual. And they love salsa and merengue, Colombian salsa and all of that. Cali is like the capital of salsa in Colombia and for basically all over the world. For dancing good salsa and everything. So learn how to dance in addition to learn how to speak Spanish, good Spanish. It's going to help you a lot. I mean, do you want to go to a nightclub here, to a bar, or to some party with your woman who's Colombian, into one of her family members' parties during the Christmas time or whatnot? And then they love dancing during the Christmas time, and they're going to hear a lot of salsa and merengue. And if you can't dance, then she's going to be kind of like, you know, disappointed or kind of bored, and maybe, you know, you don't want her dancing with some other people unless they're cousins or something. And not that being jealous, but you know, she wants to dance with you. So get that salsa stuff going in the States. Go to the salsa classes and merengue. Those are two good music types, music genres that people love dancing to here when they are at parties or nightclubs or bars. The bars that play that kind of crossover music. Forget the reggaeton, unless you're into that. And what else can I tell you? Like I said, women are very picky and very dubious of men, Colombian men, because they don't know what their backgrounds are. Foreigners, they're a little more trusting, but still, they don't know who you are. So it will take a while for them to open up to you. And it's always best when you know them through either being a teacher, even if you're a yoga instructor or whatever. But if you come here and you have some kind of teaching certificate and you can get a job here, you know, that's good. Other than that, then just gonna have to really network in other ways. And I keep saying this is the end, but hopefully this one is the end, like the Doors song, The End. Now, before we wind up this video with my last piece of advice, this is my second to last piece of advice or story to tell. There's a workmate of mine. He's from Wales in the UK. So he's a Britisher, and he came to Colombia back in 2010. and he started teaching English here because he got his teaching certificate in England and whatever, somewhere there. And he loved Envigado so much that he decided to stay, and he got his paperwork and everything, and he started teaching, of course. And he started learning Spanish really well. And he went to dance classes, salsa and merengue. And because he was able to learn the language very well, and he speaks pretty well, but with his accent, but he speaks very well, very fluent now, 14 years here. Hasn't gone back to Wales. He's been in Colombia the whole time, basically, I think. Maybe he had to fly out in the beginning during his visa runs or something to go somewhere else for a couple of months, but I think he got all his paperwork at the beginning. And he's done well. He's got his girlfriend here, stable girlfriend. He's got a good job teaching English, got his private contracts in addition to working with an institute, the same institute I work for. And that's the story of David. David, I'm not going to say his last name because he likes to keep it private, but David has told me the story. And he met a cousin of mine, a cousin that's once removed, one of my mom's cousins, so she's my cousin once removed. And he met her, it's a small world as they say, at a dance academy and whatever, where he was learning into dance salsa, and she was there learning some salsa moves too or whatever. She already knew how to dance, but she wanted to improve. And they became very good friends. I think they even dated for a little bit. Or he was trying to date her, because she's a good girl. She's one of the good girls from La Estrella, from a poor family that rose up to the middle class status in terms of her two brothers and all that. And humble family, because my mom's aunt is her mother. So David met her, and those are good folks. And that's how you meet people. You go to those salsa dance classes here in Colombia too, and you will meet some of the local Colombian women and make some friends too. And the merengue classes, that's another way. If you're not into teaching English, or if you're not working here as a professional in some company that hires you and that you speak Spanish fluently or very well. Oh yeah, and check this out. If a woman that you find on a dating app here in Colombia wants to really go back to the United States with you, or Canada or Europe, it's because she doesn't want to be here. And maybe the love connection ain't really happening. She just wants a ticket out of here. Happened to my dad. He dated a woman here from a woman that he knew, because she, long story short, and she used him, and we kind of knew that, but we were telling him, but he didn't want to hear it. And then when she got to Canada, after they were married and everything here and all that stuff, and he had been like dating her for a couple of years, but yeah, he was living in Canada. 3 months later, she said, "Don't touch me. You can't touch this," and all that. And then they got divorced. She got what she wanted. That was my dad's story. Why am I telling it? Because it's true. It might happen to you. If a woman really wants to leave this country and all that, and she's eager to leave, and she's dating you and whatever, oh man, you really better look deeply to see if there is some love there between the two of you, or if she's just using you. And the other thing is, the good women don't like chauvinistic men, macho men that are idiots. There are too many of them over here. There are better guys in the States in terms of numbers. There are some chauvinistic idiots there too, but there are a whole lot more here from what I understand and what I have seen and talked to and heard from guys just talking over all these years. Really chauvinistic, like a pig-headed, not pig-headed, like such a attitude. If I said it before, sorry, I'll say it again. If the woman is asking you to send her money and everything, that's a problem. Really is. A real relationship is based on not depending on another for money. Then when you're living together, that's a whole different story. Because you're a couple already, but you're just dating, and then you start coming out with sob stories about this and that. A lot of idiots fall for that, or a lot of people. And I've known a lot of them. I've never been one, because I always stay away from those things. Never really happened to me, because I really look deeply into what kind of woman I'm dating. I really ask the questions, the deep ones, and I really listen and see what kind of vibe is coming. And what was it I heard from somebody, like I think it was on Medellin Buzz, like a red flag, another red flag. If the woman starts calling you more is like saying love, like sugar, honey, and you just started talking just recently and you're not really into that comfort zone, I mean, come on, that fast? Amor, gordo, or something like amorcito, bebe. Those are red flags. Come on, I mean, in the States, Canada, wherever, England, you start talking to a woman or a guy, or a woman in our case, because we're men, and this is a video for men, and the woman starts saying to you, hey sugar, hey honey, hey sugar plum, hey honey cake, or sweetie pie, and just, you've only gone out on 2 dates, 3. You don't really know each other. I mean, unless you have a strong click, come on. That's a red flag. Come on, what are you doing, lady? Why are you calling me like that? We haven't entered that zone yet. Things to look out for. Check out Medellin Buzz, I told you already. Or AK Joel's Colombia.